Welcome to NewsNation, where right and left come to be reasonable. My brothers and sisters, I believe it is time, okay? I know the fake fighting works. It works for the parties, it works for the pod bros, it works for the media. We love the ratings of when they're going at it with each other. It's great. But we have to see that there is a real enemy that matters so much more than every other contrivance. It hates both sides. It is coming for all of us, for real. So whatever you think threatens you, trans athletes, ICE tactics, socialists, Trump talk, fake news, none of it compares to what actually is hunting all of us. I realized it was time for a wake-up call when AOC, the member of Congress from New York, was hapless enough to call for impeaching Trump again. This time for doing something that led to a ceasefire. On Saturday, AOC tweeted, "The president's disastrous decision to bomb Iran without authorization is a grave violation of the Constitution and congressional war powers. It is absolutely and clearly grounds for impeachment." Now, I categorically disagree, and I don't think you'll find a legal expert that gives her anything but kind of an eye roll. But she got what she wanted, attention and Trump to hit back, right? Stupid AOC is now calling for my impeachment, despite the fact that Democrats tried that twice before. Go ahead and try impeaching me again. Make my day. AOC strikes back at Trump, writing, "Mr. President, don't take your anger out on me. I'm just a silly girl. Take it out on whomever convinced you to betray the American people." AOC is right. This is silly. And so is she. And so is the president's response. But this is where we are because this is how they want it. And it has spawned a problem neither can contain. There is a reason AOC's main allies on impeachment are the pod bros, okay? While I think there is a legal argument that a president should need Congress for military action like what Trump just did unilaterally, there is no will in Congress to check the president. They will not impeach, and they will never remove. So why would you do it? I've asked this with each impeachment of Trump, and the answer was always the same: principle. But here's what I've realized, and I think you probably have too. That principle is empty outrage, okay? And that is AOC's signature cause. That is why for 6 years, AOC has accomplished nothing but a social media following in Congress. Find a major law she passed as the lead sponsor. The best you'll find is an attempt at the Green New Deal, which was a disaster for Democrats. She hasn't done anything effective about health care prices that are going up. People are getting 20, 30% increases in their premium. Where is she on that? Rent prices going up. She just wants it free, right? Just makes people angry, just plays to outrage. I don't know what's worse, being so impractical or so incendiary. But the time for posing and manufacturing fear is over. If you think you're going to out MAGA, you're wrong. And it doesn't matter because the fake fights are now exposed. We have an actual terror coming. In fact, it's here. It is among us, and it is part of us. ICE just arrested 11 Iranian nationals in the past 48 hours, including a man with ties to the IRGC and Hezbollah. The FBI is shifting agents it assigned to immigration enforcement to counter terror. We learned after Trump's Saturday night address about the bombings that the regime told him that they may mobilize sleeper cells if he bombed. Would have been good to know that in advance. We also had to wait to hear that cyber attacks from the regime blocked the president's own messages on social media about the bombing. We ignore cyber for some reason. If one person gets hurt physically, we go crazy. But they can hurt tens of thousands with a cyber attack, and it's like, we don't care. I don't get it. We got to wake up. That's what this is about. Just because the regime can't retaliate in an overt military way doesn't mean it can't keep doing what it's done for decades. And unlike after 9/11, our worry is not just about brown guys with beards screaming about Allah. Extremism has taken root among our own people, many of whom are brown with beards, by the way. It's not about how you look, it's about how you think, okay? especially among our young people. We see them on both fringes. The #1 terror threat domestically for years has been what? Now you're probably thinking Muslims. Wrong. Right-wing white nationalism. Now it has an equal opposite on the left, with this perverse affinity for fundamentalists like Hamas. Globalize the Intifada. We hear alleged Democrats questioning Israel's right to exist, saying the regime in Iran is a victim. Both sides going all in on what? Destroying the democracy. Every institution is bad. There is no truth. There is no law and order. There is no justice. There is only fealty to one side. And yes, I blame the parties. And yes, I blame the political players who have made disruption and destroying the institutions commonplace in politics. It has encouraged people to use violence to advance political agendas. And you don't have to believe me. You just have to research. Look at all the recent political violence. There are no jihadis from the Middle East, just Americans and an Egyptian national who bought into all the extremism in the atmosphere. The guy in Boulder was an Egyptian national. But your boy Mangione, assassinating a healthcare CEO in New York, right? The guy who blew himself up outside the IVF clinic in California, the guy who assassinated 2 Israeli embassy staffers, the guy who shot the lawmakers in Minnesota and their spouses. These are not jihadis. These are homegrown extremists. This is the enemy, a modern-day Cerberus, a two-headed hound of hell, and it is coming for us online and in person. For Democrats, you need to seize this opportunity. This is why immigration resonated with the many, not just MAGA. The majority is not afraid of migrants, as Trump may like, but they are afraid of these guys, Iranian nationals with jihadist sympathies. You let them in with a laxity that AOC and other radicals insisted on. And the far left is actively embracing people who are the enemy. Pro-Hamas, people who chant globalize the Intifada, the Palestinian uprising characterized by over 130 suicide bombings? Really? And I'm not picking on AOC. I respect her success in developing a following. I just think that she's killing her party. She is a deranged form of Democrat. And I'm pointing her out because she's at the top of the food chain. A recent CNN poll found she's the top Democratic leader who best reflects the core values of the Democratic Party, and this is by Democratic voters. She ranked higher than Harris, Jeffries, Newsom, even Obama. Are you kidding me? She couldn't be less about what made the Democratic Party great, and I get to say that. She is not a real one. I was raised by a real one. Google Mario Cuomo. Google Teddy Kennedy. Google Daniel Patrick Moynihan. Google any of the legends. You know the names. Remember the ideas. Mario Cuomo was a child of immigrants. He was considered less than himself. He would have never allowed a porous border or fake fights and socialistic calls for free everything, especially when there was a real bill to battle for Medicaid and tax breaks for the working class. AOC is popular because extremism drives social media and magnifies minorities. Pissing people off pays off. But radicals keep missing the rational majority. AOC and the radical left are the party of 20% when the country is the other 80%. Only 4% say Iran getting a nuke is not important. Only 18% say that men who identify as women shouldn't play in women's or girls' sports. Only 1 in 3 voters say foreign students who support terrorists should stay here. Only 16% of Americans want deportations to stop. Only 27% of voters support abolishing ICE. And forget about defunding the police or free everything. Everything that she represents is a fringe fascination. And that is what that party has become. And this is a wake-up call. You will not get back to where you want to be by abandoning everything that the majority finds reasonable. And I got to tell you, that's why her allies on impeachment are the MAGA pod bros. I mean, what are they pretending? that they're coming for Trump over the Iranian regime, calling to impeach the only guy who ever made them relevant? Why would they be in a hurry to get rid of Trump when they will be gone as soon as he is? Here's why. Because both fringes are extreme and part of the problem. Where are the better ideas to help? MAGA does the same thing as the radical left. Not all Trump voters are white nationalists, but all white nationalists like Trump for a reason. Extreme talk. I don't think he's a bigot. I think he baits people. I think he provokes. Like making every migrant an enemy and sending ICE flying all over the place after good people while actual bad guys have been under the radar until now. Like Trump attacking the media for asking real questions. Don't make enemies of one another. We're not here to please the powerful. We do not know if the bombings in Iran were successful. We don't know. We don't know whether or not the regime can enrich uranium. Okay, that's not a failure. You got a ceasefire out of it. Don't make the media the enemy. Focus on the real one, the extremists. Even after the president announced the ceasefire deal, Iran and Israel kept mobbing each other overnight, and it was unclear whether either side would stop. When asked by reporters, President Trump called both sides out. Take a look.
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I've never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
I got to tell you, I agree. Okay? And now you can attack his language, but welcome to America. Okay? Coarse language is the least of our problems. I love when people online say, I just wish your language weren't so rough. How about the ideas? Okay, at least he's being reasonable. Okay? Israel should stop. Iran should stop. And now they are. That's good. Will it hold? I don't know. But let's discuss what actually matters and stop with all the fake fights. There are plenty of real enemies actively trying to kill us from without and within. There's no reason to make them up. Not anymore. Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.